Hello and welcome to the 30k channel dedicated to games set in the Horus Heresy. I'm your host David Brains and we are here for game 4 and we are joined by Alistair. Good morning, Alistair.
Hello.
Excellent. So hopefully you've been watching this series. We're back for game 4.
Yep.
Praying that it's going to be a Mechanicum victory this time. I'm not sure.
The Sons of Horus are feeling pretty good about themselves so far.
I love it. Really great to be back here filming the 4th part in this series. It has been a heavily narrative-driven storyline.
Absolutely, yeah.
Lots of thrills and spills on the way.
So we've been fighting on one of the moons around Alpha Garmin.
Yes.
There's a Mechanicum world, Black Sands, Harvest on the Black Sands.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, so far what's happened is we kind of landed, we captured a kind of the entranceway to a Zone Mortalis area.
Yep.
Went down into there, found some psychers.
Yes.
The last mission ended off with the Sons of Horus flying into the distance on the back of a Thunderhawk.
Yes.
Thought it was going to be beautiful, but then of course the psychers crash the Thunderhawk with their kind of psychic shrieks.
It's what's called irony, because the first game we were fighting over a crashed Mechanicum Thunderhawk that were transporting stuff to an unknown facility. We explore the story. We find out that the facility is a joint effort from the Loyalists harbouring alpha level psychers to send to Horus. Send to the Emperor. Excuse me.
Except for the tongue.
Yeah, it's a heresy that is.
Yeah.
Sons of Horus have come in to find out what's happened, and they thought, well, hang on a minute, we could take these back for Horus. And now, ironically, the psyker that you escaped with, there was a couple of psychers. They've caused the Vanguard Thunderhawk, which you escaped in, to crash land. So they've crash landed on another part of this planet. Mechanicum have raced to try and intercept the Sons of Horus to try and get these psychers back. And now this is the battle that ensues.
Yep.
So let's remind ourselves, we were playing 1,500 points in Zone Mortalis.
Yep.
The Loyalist players had a combined arms detachment with Mechanicum, Iron Hands, and Sisters of Silence. Against pure elite Sons of Horus. And the Sons of Horus have been victorious so far in all 3 games. But now we've painted some more stuff, or Alistair's painted some more stuff.
Absolutely. Well, painted one stuff.
It's still a beast to paint. He's exhausted after. And now we're at 2K, 6x4, and I think it's going to be a really great game.
Yeah, kind of the first proper heresy game we've played, what a proper meat and potatoes heresy game.
Absolutely.
Because previously we played Centurion and then Scout, and those are kind of smaller ways to play the game. But now, it's proper combined arms. 2,500 points. 2,000.
2.5 is the next game, game 5. Now let's talk about this mission. So what we've got is we've got 2 psychers. I know. Well, you got off the board with 2. Well, technically 1, didn't you? But the other one was kind of still in and around. So we've lumped him into the Thunderhawk. You can imagine that you spent your SC time wiping out the Mechanicum and you went back and got the other Psyker. So there's 2 Psychers in this Thunderhawk. They've unleashed a psychic barrage attack because the Sisters of Silence weren't there to kind of hold them back.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's caused the pilots to crash land. And so what we've got for in this game is we've got 2 Psychers on the board, and the objective is to capture those Psychers. There are some rules around those psychers which we want to talk about. Essentially, we're playing almost like a what was the objective you played when you had the relic?
Yes, yeah. It's really similar. There's 2 relics, and the relics are significantly more dangerous.
They are. So they have a constant psychic shriek attack which swirls around them, and that's activated in the movement phase. So any models that come into contact with those psychic at any point during I'm going to start again. Any models that are in contact or within that blast marker, which I've got here, so we'll put this down at some point. If any model moves into contact with that, and at the beginning of the psychic phase, they will suffer a psychic shriek attack. No rolling, it just automatically happens. Now, to escort these models or to gain control of them in the game, you need your little. Well, I've got a sister.
Yep, and I have this guy, I'm not quite sure what he is. He came out with a new chaplain,
Yes.
Chaos Chaplain model.
Yeah.
Came out recently. Really love him. I think he kind of fits this kind of psychic null idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Alice just mentioned, each model is representative of a null field or a particularly the Sister Sonics. They're innately null, but your model there is like an artifact which they've been sent ahead for you to help you in your quest. So what will happen is if you want to capture one of the psychers, there were 3 feature points in the game. You need to be in possession with them at the end of the game. So if a normal troop unit moves in, or wherever unit moves in, and they don't have the null model, then you'll suffer the attack. But if they have the Sister Silent or the Chaos one there, then you won't suffer those effects. And that will be the unit to safely escort the model back into your point zone, or wherever you want to go with it. So that's the really key thing about this. Now, you can, of course, escort the model off the board or wherever you want to go with it, but you will suffer that psychic attack every assault phase. Every psychic phase. God, I'm getting confused. So it might be a bit of a gamble until you can get your model in contact, but that's what we're going with.
Especially as we've only got 1 psychic null each and there's 2 objectives. So you'll be really having to make some tough decisions there. Yeah.
But also, whilst the psych is in your unit, you get a 4+ invulnerable save. And we've rationalised this as there's just raw psychic power and it just protects the squad that it's in.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that will help. So we kind of thought of a circumstance where maybe if the squad has a psyker in it, but not the Sister Silence or the Chaos model, you'll still suffer that psychic shriek attack, but you'll also get a 4+ invulnerable save as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it'd be really interesting to see how that works out. But the objective is to gain control of one or both of those psychers at the end of the game. If you're in possession, it's 3 points. They cannot be killed regardless. Doesn't matter if a orbital or barbon drops on the head, they cannot be killed full stop. If a unit is killed and they're in contact with one of the psychers, they will just be left to their own devices. And at the beginning of the movement phase, they move 6 inches in a random direction, both of them in both the movement phases, unless you're controlling them. So it'll be a little bit tricky to kind of get to grips with them, I think. Also, at the end of the game, we've got Slay the Warlord and Last Man Standing. So if you don't have a psyker and your opponent does, you're kind of tough out because it's going to be 3-2, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you've both got a psyker and you do one or the other,
absolutely,
that's where the points are. Alistair, I've lost all 3 games so far. I'm hoping for a win today, but I'm a little bit still worried about the Sons of Horus. They are a tough force.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing that I've learned so far is that just how tough the Justera are. I kind of maybe didn't appreciate it when I first started using them, but they're 2 wound terminators.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm hoping they're going to do more work this game.
Yeah. I think one thing which made them particularly tough is that Alistair made some amazing 4+ invulnerable saves. And it's not an excuse. It's just, if you roll that 4 up, it's really, really good.
I've been practicing.
Have you?
Yeah. Every night before I go to bed, I spend about 5-10 minutes rolling my 4-ups.
Brilliant.
I've been getting to about 75%.
Oh, really?
It's all in the wrist.
All in the wrist, always. Always in the wrist before you go to bed. Excuse the pun. Now, I've brought some tanks. I've always used infantry up until now. Wasn't very effective. My get hots rolled were appalling.
Yeah, they were great.
Weren't good. So I've brought some tanks. I've got 2 Strength 9 AP2. They will do the job for the Spartan and the Justeran, hopefully. And I've brought some Strength 7 AP3 Shred and Rending Large Blast templates on these 2 cries here. So
really, really nervous about those.
Oh, I don't know. I think if you get some lucky shots with, particularly with this unit here, I'm quite worried about them. So we'll see. But yes, so Alistair's furiously painted his Spartan. I haven't done any painting because I don't need to just yet. But hopefully I'll get something done for the next 2.5, 3K. Hopefully. I've got some tanks which need to be painting as well. Some transports and an artillery vehicle. I'm quite excited.
Me too.
Really excited.
The board, as always, is stunning.
Good.
So I'm really excited to play over it.
Good. We've ploughed the Vanguard Thunderhawk in a little bit, so it looks like it's not completely total like the Mechanicum one was, but it's gently kind of touched down and come to a stop. And we're in sort of a settlement with a little mining facility type Prometheum storage area thing. So I'm looking forward to moving around in that. We're playing Vanguard Strike on this one. Or is it Vanguard? Yeah, it's Vanguard.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Vanguard Strike. And the 2 cycles are deployed right in the middle, equidistant for each other. So it's fair for both sides to kind of get onto those objectives. I think that's going to be really key for the mission. It's getting them in contact quite early on.
Yep, especially with the unit that can kind of ignore some of their negative effects.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of terrain here, but I think it'll be good because it'll really make us choose where our tanks are going and try and outmaneuver each other. So we'll see about that. It's also worth noting, Alistair, I finally have a legal list. I have the Reductor. I have my minimum HQ choices.
You've been cheating the whole time.
I'm so sorry. It's really appalling.
Yeah,
I know. So Alistair's been gracious and let me get away with my my indiscretion. So thank you for that. It's legal now.
Okay.
It's a narrative,
Yeah, it's fine.
It's my justification. So I do have a legal list now.
Well, and now you'll win. The one time you bring a legal list.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Don't forget, this series is exclusive to YouTube. I really hope that you have enjoyed this series so far. And don't forget, you can subscribe to the website. There are over 100 games on the website now. And you get 7 games a month, which is up the antes from the last time that we saw you. So in game 3. So please go to the website and have a look at us. There is a 3-day free trial, so go check that out. And please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It allows us to do stuff like this and buy Alistair some food for the day. Because
I'm a hungry boy.
He is a hungry boy. I think we should just get on with it.
Absolutely.
Let's look at the lists and we'll see at the beginning of turn 1. 2,000 points of ORDO REDUCTOR, led by an Archmagos Prime. His Warlord trait is Perfected Targeting. Leading the Mechanicum is an Archmagos REDUCTOR. He's equipped with Melter Bombs, a Mastercrafted Melter Gun, Jin Skyne, Cyber Familiar, and 4 Cyber Ocularis. His Warlord trait is Perfected Targeting. Accompanying the ORDO REDUCTOR is a member of the Sisters of Silence. She will play no part in this battle, apart from the fact that she will lend her null ability to a unit that she attaches to. She won't attack in combat, she won't shoot in the shooting phase. First and second troops choice are 2 Thalax cohorts consisting of 6 Thalax. They have 2 photon thrusters in each squad, and they both have the Destructor upgrade. Squad 3 is a 6 Thalax cohort with 2 multi-melters, and they also have been upgraded to take the Destructor special rule. The fourth and final troops choice is a 4 Thalax cohort with 1 multi-melter, and they again have the Destructor special rule. The final element to this ORDO REDUCTOR army are 4 tanks. They are all individual because the Rite of War, or rather the ORDO REDUCTOR, gives me 4 heavy support slots. So to stop them being destroyed in a squadron, I've taken them all individually. So there are 2 Cryos Venator and 2 Cryos. They are all equipped with extra armour.
2,000 points of Sons of Horus, running the Pride of the Legion Rite of War, which allows veteran tactical squads to be taken as troops choices. The Sons of Horus are led by a Praetor, armed with a bolt pistol, a mastercrafted paragon blade, and an iron halo. He has the Master of the Vanguard Warlord trait, which allows units within 12 inches to add 1 to their run and charge moves. First elite's choice for the Sons of Horus is a unit of 5 Justarin. They're armed with 3 Power Fists, 2 Chain Fists, and a multi-melter. They're accompanied by the Chaotic Tome Bearer. Second and third elite's choice for the Sons of Horus are 2 identical Contemptor Dreadnoughts. Both of them are armed with a Kerry's Pattern Assault Cannon, a Dreadnought Chain Fist with an inbuilt Graviton Gun. 2 troops choices for the Sons of Horus are 2 near identical squads of veterans. Each contains 10 veterans. The Sergeant is armed with a combi weapon, which is a combi plasma, and one of them is armed with a power fist, the other with a power axe. Both squads have 2 combi plasmas. They both have rhinos with dozer blades. Fast attack for the Sons of Horus is made up of a single squadron of land speeders. They're all armed with a pintle-mounted Volkite Culverin and a hull-mounted heavy bolter. Rounding off the Sons of Horus is the heavy support choice of a Spartan assault tank. It's armed with armoured ceramite and a dozer blade.
Alistair, we're down.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of Sons of Horus I'm particularly worried about. The Spartan and the Dreadnoughts and the Land Speeders.
So all of it then.
So pretty much half the army, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm very worried about your tanks.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go.
We'll see how it goes. Now, Alistair won the roll-off to deploy first, go first, and made me deploy first.
Absolutely.
So you've got the last turn.
Yeah, so I think with missions like this, what's really important is the last turn.
Yeah.
Much more important than the first turn. So yeah, I've been playing for that last turn. So hopefully I've set it up in such a way that I shouldn't take too much damage from your first turn and really feel the benefit in the last turn.
Yeah.
However, I could have fluffed it and I could lose loads of stuff. We'll see.
I think it's really hard to tell. I think Alistair definitely has a psychological advantage. 3 wins versus 0 wins for the Mechanicum.
Got in your head.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm out to prove myself today. I'm hoping that the addition of the tanks will help out a little bit, but I've deployed quite aggressive. I think I need to get in and score myself 3 points and then see what happens. So, all right. Well, Mechanicum are going to go first. You're not going to seize.
I am not.
So good luck to you.
You too.
And we'll go into Mechanicum turn 1. Ordo Reductor turn 1 movement. The Archmagus Reductor and his squad, along with the Sister of Silence, has moved forward as aggressively as possible. We're trying to reach that Psyker very early on in the game to try and secure myself some 3 points. The Cries Venator has moved up on that mound and has drawn a bead down on that Sons of Horus Contemptor. We need to try and blunt that as much as we can if possible. The rest of the force has moved forwards. Don't forget we're running Ordo Reductor, so we ignore the modifiers for moving to difficult terrain, which is really handy for the Thalax moving around. There's not a lot of line of sight in this opening round, which is really good news. At least it'll mean the Mechanicum will last a little bit longer, hopefully. We are now going to go into the shooting phase. Ordo Reductor, turn 1 shooting. I mean, you know, if Alistair could make 4-up saves for his living, then he's got a job for life. The Cries Venator fired its 4 shots, strength 9, AP 2, ordnance weapon at the Sons of Horus Contemptor that it could see. I passed +1 ballistic skill from the Archmagus Reductor and gave him his Destructor special rule. So it was twin linked and re-rolled for Tank Hunter. I got 4 hits, 3 pens and 1 glance. We gave Alistair a 4-up cover save because he can only see 50% of that Contemptor. And Alistair made every single save on a 4-up. Unbelievable. That would have been 1 dead Contemptor. But anyway, Alistair is proving strong and lucky as he did from his previous games. We shall press on. Ordo Reductor turn 1 assault phase. The Archmagus and his squad managed 11 inches on their thrust move, so that put them well into contact with the first Psyker. You know, don't forget we've got that Sisters of Silence in there, so we've managed to capture that Psyker with no damage. One thing that Alistair and I did forget to do was the random movement of the Psyker. So we did that in the assault phase just to see what would have happened. And the Psyker actually moved towards the Mechanicum by 5 inches. That was really good news. We've definitely secured that. Let's hope we can keep on hold of him till the end of the game. The Cybot Galaris from the Ordo Reductor have just moved around, got some really good rolls, sort of 5s and 6s and a couple of 11s, which was brilliant. The Thalax on the left-hand side of the screen there just inched over 4 inches just to make some room for that tank in the next turn. This squad just moved through the building a little bit. The Psyker in front of them moved towards the Thalax by 3 inches. Don't forget, we will move that again at the beginning of Alistair's turn just to see where he goes. Other than that, you know, it would have been nice to have secured a Contemptor dead at the beginning of the Mechanicum turn 1, but, you know, Alistair again made some amazing saves, so good on him. And we will go into Alistair's turn 1.
Sons of Horus movement phase, turn 1. After some exceptionally lucky rolling, the Contemptors have pushed around the Thunderhawk, hoping to threaten the Psyker that's the objective in that corner and also put some hurt onto the Thalax. The Land Speeders have swapped places with the Rhino that was there, again looking to put some fire down onto the Thalax that have just captured the second objective. The Rhino's got out of the way. I don't need to use that yet, so I'm looking to use that later in the game. On the final movement was the Spartan, containing the Praetor and the Justarin. They're going to be absolutely brutal in this game. but I just need to get them in the right position. So the Spartan's doing that, as well as lining up a shot with one of its quad last cannons on one of the Mechanicum tanks that I'm really worried about. Bit of a game of cat and mouse at the minute until I can clear out some of them. Sons of Horus turn 1 shooting phase. First shot of the game is from the Spartan with its quad last cannon lined up at the Cries Venator. Really horrible gun on that, need to deal with it. 2 shots, 2 hits, 1 penetrating hit. Unfortunately, the cover save was failed and the shot got through. On the weapon, on the vehicle damage table, we got a weapon destroyed result, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Perfect. On the left-hand flank, the 2 Sons of Horus Contemptors activated. One of them ran, really trying to hunker down behind the Thunderhawk, and the other shot at the Thalax. Some incredible rolls meant that 5 wounds went through onto the Thalax, and they failed all of their saves. Mathematics reasserted itself, and 3 of the feel no pains were passed on a 6 up, meaning 2 wounds total. Final shots for the Sons of Horus come from the land speeders. On checking line of sight, only one of them can see, so only 1 set of shots went into the Thalax holding the objective. A bit of a wet set of shots from the land speeder resulted in only a single wound being caused from the Volkite, nothing from the heavy bolter. End of Sons of Horus turn 1. A pretty decent turn. I've put some shots into the Mechanicum, chipped a few wounds off, really crucially taken one of the Cries Venators out of action. Hopefully, when my veterans come on from outflank, they'll come on the back of, in the Mechanicum's back line and take out some more of the tanks.
Order REDUCTOR, turn 2 movement. The Thalax cohort on the right hand side have come out of that building to draw a line of sight onto the Contemptor Dreadnought. The cries has also done the same thing. This unit has moved back just to try and cover the rear flank, as there might be some outflanking units. This squad here stays stationary in the building as a bit of a fire base, as have the cries. The Venator, that still has his gun intact, has moved forward to try and draw a bead down on those land speeders in the distance. The Archmados REDUCTOR and his cohort of Thalax have captured their Psyker along with the Sister's Silence, and they are moving towards their deployment zone to try and keep 3 points for ourselves. And the Venator that lost its gun has moved forward 12 inches. He will then flat out just to provide some cover for the Archmados and his unit. And then Alistair will just have to go round it or charge it, which hopefully will time it for a turn and allow us time to get the Psyker into further into the Mechanicum's deployment zone. Order REDUCTOR turn 2 shooting. Started off with the Cries Venator in the centre of the board, firing under that gantry into the land speeders, the Sons of Horus land speeders. Really good shot. Got 4 hits, 4 penetrates. Alistair made an unbelievable 3 4-up jinx saves, as he always does. But one of those did get through and exploded the land speeder, which was brilliant. He did elect a jinx, so at least that will help the Mechanicum out in the next turn. The explosion did catch one of the land speeders, but failed to penetrate its armour, so not a bad opening round of shooting there in turn 2. The Thalax cohort on this side of the board shot 4 photon thruster shots and 3 lightning gun shots into the Contemptor. After the dust settled, a hull point was caused on the Contemptor and blinded thanks to the photon thruster. The Cryos then fired its lightning cannon into the Contemptors. It scattered, clipping both of them, but failed to penetrate. At the end of the shooting phase, the Cryos Venator flatted out just about 3 or 4 inches just to provide some cover to the Thalax, who are moving away with their objective. That unit also thrust 4 inches. It was only the unit itself and not the target, the objective rather, or the Sister Silence, but I just moved the Thalax to still stay within 2 inches of coherency. Across the board over here, the Thalax thrust forward 4 inches again, just to cover the rear for that outflanking Rhino maybe, and this squad that shot at the Sons of Horus Contemptor moved back into cover just to kind of mitigate some of those Achilles pattern assault cannon shots coming in. On the whole, not bad. I would like to have done a little bit more damage, but again, Alice's invulnerable saves and jinx saves were pretty amazing. All we can do now is brace.
Sons of Horus turn 2 movement. The veteran squad turned up. I was really looking for them to outflank in the back of the Mechanicum lines.
Unfortunately, they got their orders mixed up and turned up on this table edge. This puts them right out of the battle, so it's going to be hard work getting them into it. The Spartan moved up, hoping to repeat its success last turn, shooting the other working Krios Venator. It will still get a cover save, but that didn't help it last time. In the centre of the board, or on the centre of this flank, sorry, the Rhino has moved up, again trying to get those veteran squads in the game. It's going to be quite hard to do that now with where they're positioned. The two land speeders that are left over have hidden behind a rock. Because they're only snap shooting this turn, it's not worth keeping them out in the open where they're going to get torn apart by Mechanicum tanks. And on this side of the board, two Contemptors have moved up, looking to threaten the Thalax. If I'm lucky, one of them might be able to make a 12-inch charge into those Thalax. It's worth the risk. Sons of Horus, turn 2 shooting phase. Again, the Spartans kicks things off. One quad last cannon, using the power of the machine spirit, shot at the Krios Venator, hoping to repeat the success of last turn. This time, 2 penetrating hits went through, so my chances were quite high. However, both cover saves were passed. Finally, some luck for David. Using the rest of the shots were snapshotted into the unit of Thalax holding the objective. Some incredible work from the heavy bolters saw 2 wounds come off the Thalax, despite the snapshots that the Spartan was making, so that was great. Shooting finishes with the 2 Contemptors on the left-hand flank. The one that is at the minute not snap shooting managed to open up with its Keres assault cannon and strip 3 wounds off the Thalax, so killing one of them, which was fantastic. The other Contemptor was, of course, due to its failed blind check, snap shooting, and it hit with a single shot but failed to wound. So overall, decent from the Contemptors. The Rhino containing the veterans that has just come on has flat out and also popped smoke, giving it a 5-up cover save. End of Sons of Horus turn 2. Again, a bit of a wet turn from the Sons of Horus. A couple of things that I really wanted to go off didn't. So the Spartan didn't deal with one of the Venators, and the veterans turned up on the wrong flank, meaning that I'm going to have to work really hard to get them back into the game. We'll see what happens going into Mechanicum turn 3.
ORDO REDUCTOR turn 3 movement. Now this is the turn for the Mechanicum to shine and really blunt the assault from the Sons of Horus. The Krios Venator has shuffled around to get a line of sight on that Rhino. Our plan is to destroy it and then shoot the contents inside, restricting the amount of troops that can hold the Psyker if they decide to take it from us. This Cybot Claris has moved forward to deny the cover save, or -1 on the cover save because it popped smoke in the previous turn. This Venator, he's not got a lot going for him, so he's just trying to be a blockade there in front of that Spartan. The unit has moved back towards their deployment zone, but a couple of multi-melters are in range should the Krios Venator fail. Hopefully, when the Rhino's destroyed, this Krios will then fire downrange and take out the contents of that Rhino. The rest of the units in the little settlement here have moved so they can bring their multi-melters, their lightning guns and photon thrusters at this Sons of Horus Contemptor. We really need to destroy one of this. It's only got 2 hull points left, and we've trained everything we can to get some great shooting on it. So we need a little bit of luck. ORDO REDUCTOR turn 3 shooting. The plan is working. The Archmagos Prime passed his +1 ballistic skill off onto the tank, and also gave it the Twin Link special rule and the Tank Hunter special rule, thanks to its special rule. Lots of special rules in that sentence there. It then fired 4 shots into the Rhino, got 4 hits, 4 penetrates, exploded the Rhino and killed 2 of the Sons of Horus occupants. Now the lightning cannon from this Krios will fire downrange to try and get rid of those troops, and then if not, we can then follow up with some lightning gun and multi-melter attacks into the squad. The Krios then fired its lightning gun into the occupants of that Rhino, got a direct hit. It was strength 7, shred and rending, needed 2s to wound, got 2 misses, but because of the shred, wiped the squad out. So that's a really, really good result there. I am slightly worried about this Spartan. I do not want him to get into contact with the Thalax there, because they will mince the contents of the Justerian will mince that squad. So we're going to do a little thrust move at the end just to try and move away ever so slightly if we can. The Thalax with photon thrusters fired 4 shots into the Sons of Horus Contemptor. 2 misses and 1 got hot and put a wound on one of the models, but 2 hits went through and got 1 glancing hit on the Contemptor, and Alistair failed his invulnerable save. So that Contemptor now is down to 1 hull point. This single Thalax, armed with a multi-melter, fired through the building, through his fellow Thalax cohorts, and took the final hull point off that Contemptor. That is really great news. This Thalax unit fired 4 photon thruster shots into the Contemptor, all hit, and managed to get a glancing hit on that Contemptor, which was brilliant news. The lightning guns then followed up, got 3 hits, but failed to penetrate, even with the Destructor special roll. But crucially, Alistair failed his blind check, so that Contemptor is weapon skill 1, ballistic skill 1, which is brilliant. And finally, the Cryos fired its lightning gun into the Contemptor, but scattered off the board. So not amazing, but really pleased to have blinded it and then destroyed the other one in front. The final act of the shooting phase for the ORDO REDUCTOR was to do some very tactically sneaky stuff. So the Cryos Venator that's still alive with 2 hull points left and no weapon has flatted out, and he's just moved to block that Spartan disgorging the contents of Justerian to get into the Thalax. And then finally, the Cyber Ocularis has also moved to block any Justerian that want to get stuck into the Thalax. It is a little bit sneaky, but with my track record in the last 3 games, I really need to do something, and I had to resort to some sneaky Mechanicum tactics. Mechanicum, turn through assault phase. The unit in front here just thrust forward 4 inches. A little bit concerned because obviously the Sister of Silence can't thrust, so she's causing us to make a bit of an extended line here, which is not ideal. This unit that popped out with its photon thrusters moved 4 inches just back into cover. We're very, very worried about those jet bikes over on behind that ridge there. They will annihilate a Thalax unit a turn if they bring their guns to bear. This squad here that contained the multi-melter went forward 4 inches. We're going to try and make a play for the objective on the last turn, even despite suffering the attacks that we'll take, but we might be able to secure it. And this large unit here has got back into the building, and we are going to try and take down that Dreadnought if we can. Other than that, a really great successful turn for the Mechanicum. I just pray that I can hold on to it.
Sons of Horus, turn 3 movement. The speeders have hopped up onto the gantry, passing both their terrain checks. They'll either be shooting at the Cryos Venator, or if that gets destroyed by something else, pouring shots down at the Thalax. We know from earlier games that's devastating. On the right-hand side of the battlefield, the Spartan has disgorged its unit of Justerian. Now, it was hemmed in thanks to David's cunning use of the Cyber Ocularis and the wounded Cryos Venator. However, I might be able to multi-assault both the Cyber Ocularis and the unit holding the objective. That's a big moment. If I can pull that off, that's fantastic. On the far side of the battlefield, next to the Thunderhawk, the Dreadnought has pushed up. Realistically, it's going to be tough for me to do anything to those Mechanicum, but if I can get in contact with the Thalax and start hitting them in combat, that's really going to work in my favour, so we're going to keep trying for that. At the back of the battlefield, the veterans are sitting tight in their Rhino. There's not really much they can contribute to at the minute. Sons of Horus, turn 3 shooting. It looks like the Spartan used all of its luck up in that opening shot. It opened up with both quad last cannons at one shot each at each of the Cryos Venators. However, not much happened. The Cryos Venator with its side to the Spartan just took a single hull point that shook it, which isn't significant, and thanks to its flare shield, the other Cryos Venator wasn't even scratched. Second lot of shooting came from the land speeders. With the Spartan failing to hurt the Venator, they opened up with their strength 6 weapons into its armour 12 side. A lot of shots, 5 hits, only a single 6 to penetrate though, meaning that it's only taken a glancing hit. Still on 2, still able to shoot with its full complement of weapons. Sons of Horus turn 3 assault phase. The Justerin have arrived and they've made their charge. There were some slightly risky moments as the melter gun off of the HQ choice for the Mechanicum managed to get a hit and a wound, but crucially, the Justerin passed his invulnerable save, as apparently they always do. They're in assault with both the Cyberocularis and the Thalax. This is great news. Swinging at Initiative 5, the Praetor has piled in, really hoping to get some instant death hits off with his Paragon Blade. Unfortunately, he didn't. There was a total of 4 hits, 2 wounds, but none of them were 6s, so that was just 2 wounds off the Mechanicum. It did kill 1 Thalax, however. The Archmagus Reductor then had its turn to strike. However, it's just too far away for any hits to come in. The Thalax then piled in and made their attacks. Mighty 3 wounds were caused on Justerin, but the Justerin plate held and no wounds were caused. At Initiative 1, the Justerin then swung in. They only got 8 attacks because they didn't get the bonus attacks because they multi-assaulted. They got 6 hits total, 4 wounds. Then, thanks to the invulnerable save provided by the Psyker, the Thalax actually passed 2 of those, meaning that only 2 wounds were caused. A victorious combat for the Sons of Horus. However, the unit of Thalax is leadership 10 and stubborn, so it's going to be really hard for them to run away, and they didn't. So the combat continues. The Contemptor next to the Thunderhawk has charged into the Cyberocularis. This is a real effort to make some real headway with movement up the board. It was an easy charge, 7 inches, was made with fleet. It then failed to kill it with the Hammer of Wrath, but of course the Dreadnought Chainfist swung in and easily did it. So it's dead, and the consolidation move was 6 inches. So that's a total of 13 inches it's managed to move this assault phase, which will really be putting some pressure on those Mechanicum units. End of Sons of Horus turn 3. So far it's been a bit of a weak game from the Sons of Horus, but this turn has really seen some things turn around. If I can keep the Justerin holding on to that Psyker, hopefully that should put me in a good position to, if not win the game, at least put some pressure on the Mechanicum.
Ordo Reductor turn 4 movement. Alistair did a great job of getting those Justerin into the Archmagus Reductor. That is exactly what I wanted to avoid because there's a really good chance that it'll finish me off in that combat in the next couple of turns. Anyway, this Cras Venator moved to make way for its little friend behind so it can draw a line of sight onto the Spartan. It'd be really nice to get rid of that Spartan. It has been a bit of a pain. The Cryos here has positioned itself so it can fire up at those land speeders. We need to get rid of those. The Thalax squad has moved forward to get its photon thrusters up at the land speeders, and then the rest of the Thalax here have piled around that Contemptor Dreadnought, and we need to finish it off with combined fire from the multi-melter, the photon thruster, and the lightning guns. I'm sure they can take 2 hull points from it. Fingers crossed. Other than that, we need to be very careful about what we're going to do. We may have lost the Psyker on the left-hand flank. There is one in front of us, and we have been doing the movement for it at the beginning of both of our turns, but there's not much has happened. This one has just stayed around the Thunderhawk. What we might do is, on the last turn of the game, or last couple of turns, we'll make a play for it and score ourselves 3 points. Then we're on to the secondary objectives. That's why I'm trying to target the Sons of Horus units. Ordo Reductor, turn 4 shooting, and as usual, the bad luck has returned to the Mechanicum. The Cryos Venator fired its fusil weapon, unfettered at the side of the Spartan. No bonuses from the Archmagus Reductor, no bonuses from the Cyberocularis, but got 2 hits. And then it has ordnance, and the 2 dice picked the highest, and I rolled double 1 twice. So that was just unbelievable. So that Spartan is still revving its engines. The Cryos on the left-hand side fired up into the land speeder up there, managed to get a hull point and a weapon destroyed, so blew the heavy bolter off on it, which is pretty good. Would have liked the Volkite, but there you go. Then the other Cryos fired up. It hit, but failed to penetrate, so that was a bit of a shame. However, Alistair did jink, so it will save the firepower coming in. I've still got a unit of Thalax with 4 photon thruster shots that will go in and hopefully finish that unit off. The Thalax unit down here in the front fired 4 photon thruster shots into the land speeders. One of the weapons got hot and caused a wound on the Thalax, but that was okay. And then 3 penetrating hits went into the land speeders. Alistair did jink, but rolled 2 6s, which was unbelievable. And he saved the 2 hull points there. But one did get through, and that took the final hull point off the lead land speeder. You know, it would have been nice to have finished that unit off. But nevertheless, they are jinking, and that was a reasonable result. Down here in the shadow of the Thunderhawk, both of the Thalax units fired into that Contemptor. The multi-melter that was in the rear of the Contemptor shot, hit, got to penetrate, but Alistair made his 5 FP invulnerable save, so that was awesome. And then the lightning guns in front fired 4 lightning gun shots into the Contemptor, and took the final 2 hull points from it, which was brilliant news. It only wrecked it, no explodes, and now they are in a really great position to make a play for that Psyker in the last couple of parts of the turn. Ordo Reductor, turn 4 Assault. Striking Initiative 5, the Praetor went in with 5 attacks, hit 3 times and caused 2 wounds, but thanks to the Psyker being in the Archmagos Reductor's unit, they passed their 4 invulnerable saves, which was brilliant. Next initiative was the Archmagos Reductor. He struck in with his power sword, got 3 hits, and caused 1 wound on the Justerian, which was pretty good news. Then at initiative 3, the Thalax went in with 8 attacks, only hit once, which was unreal, and caused a wound, but Alistair passed his 2-up armour save. So we are now at initiative 1 with the Justerian to strike. Next to strike at initiative 1 was the Justerian Terminators. They had 10 attacks, hit 6 times, and caused 4 wounds onto the Thalax. Thanks again to the Psyker in the unit, I got a 4-up invulnerable save, which I passed 2 of, and 2 wounds put onto the Thalax in combat. The Mechanicum did lose combat, but thanks to the Leadership 10 and being stubborn, they are still in combat. This is going really well for the Thalax. At the end of turn 4, the Mechanicum in a reasonable position. I'm so pleased that Mechanicum have held strong in that combat against the Justerian and the Praetor, so that is kind of keeping the game alive for me. I do have a chance to snatch victory though at the end. I'm definitely going to make a play for that Psyker there by the Thunderhawk on my last turn just to secure it. But we need to focus fire in the next couple of turns to get rid of that land speeder, and then that will give me a really good chance of either drawing or winning this game.
Sons of Horus, turn 4 movement. There's really not a lot of Sons of Horus left on the board at the minute, and nearly all of it is hiding from Mechanicum at the minute. So the Speeder hopped down from the gantry, again passing its dangerous terrain test, and has hidden behind a rock. The Rhino has just rotated slightly, trying to hide both itself and the unit of veterans it contains from the Mechanicum firepower. Remember, because of the Pride of the Legion right of war, if all the veteran squads are killed, 2 victory points would go to the Mechanicum forces, which would undoubtedly win them the game in this scenario, so I really want to keep them in the game. The Spartan has turned to face the Cries Venator, who spectacularly failed to do anything last turn, hoping to show it how to destroy a vehicle this turn, and the Justerian, hopefully they might win the Sons of Horus the game. So they are, at the minute, still holding on, still beating up the Thalax. Sons of Horus turn 4 shooting phase. What can I say? The Spartan opened up with all of its quad last cannons right into that Cries Venator, doing nothing. That's a real shame because it's likely to return fire, possibly slightly more effectively, next turn. Sons of Horus turn 4 assault phase. Right back to the Justerian. The Praetor swung in with his Paragon Blade. However, thanks to the 4-up invulnerable save provided by the Psyker, caused no wounds on the Thalax. The Archmagos then attacked back, caused a single wound on the Justerian, who passed their armour save. So from both commanders, a bit of a wet start. The Thalax then swung back at the Justerian. Did really well. They got 8 attacks total, 6 hits, 3 wounds, and stripped one of the wounds off one of the Justerian, killing one. So great news for the Thalax. The Justarian then swung in with their weaponry at initiative 1. They caused a single wound, and again, this was due to the Psyker's 4-up invulnerable save. This invulnerable save is really keeping the Thalax in this combat, and might ultimately hold me up for the rest of the game, so that's quite a big moment. Drawing to the end of the Sons of Horus turn 4, it's really all come down to this assault in the edge of the battlefield here, because everything else from the Sons of Horus is either hiding or trading fire ineffectively with a Krios Venator.
Ordo Reductor, turn 5 movement. Now this could be the last turn of the game for the Mechanicum, so because it's a random roll at the end. The Krios Venator has moved into the centre of the battlefield, firing through the gantry and get a line of sight onto that rhino. If I can take the rhino out this turn, that will score me some points, and that will help towards last man standing at the end of the game. Can't do anything about this combat here. I just need to survive. It's that 4-up invulnerable save conferred by that Psyker that's really helping that unit out. Everything else in this side of the board, they just moved around for a potential 6th turn and make sure that we can bring the photon thrusters to bear if that land speeder should show its face in its final turn. But crucially, the Psyker did his random movement towards the Thunderhawk, and then the Thalax unit managed to catch up with it. Now, instead of rolling separately for the psychic phase, we just did it as soon as they moved in contact with it to save an extra turn here. 4 wounds were caused thanks to the psychic shriek, but they were saved, and only 2 wounds were put onto that Thalax. So they are in control of the Psyker, so we will score 3 points, providing Alistair can't shift them. So we'll see what happens. This unit then moved up to try and draw a line of sight on anything if we get a 6th and final turn. It's very touch and go. We need that combat to last over on the left-hand side. Fingers crossed. Ordo Reductor, turn 5 shooting. As you can see, those Sons of Horus have been turfed out of their rhino. That Krios Venator opened up onto the side of it. 4 shots, 3 hits, 3 penetrates, 1 cover save made, and then the other 2 managed to explode the rhino. It killed 2 Sons of Horus, and it also pinned the unit. So that is a really great result from that round of shooting. At initiative 5, the Praetor went in with his 5 attacks, hit all of them, got 1 murderous strike, which was saved by the 4-up invulnerable save conferred by the Psyker, which is brilliant. We then went in and saved the rest of the attacks at AP2, thanks to the 4-up invulnerable again, and the Feel No Pain, so no wounds caused on the Thalax at initiative 5. The Archmage struck back with his 3 attacks, got 3 hits, but failed to wound, which is a real shame. The Thalax then attacked back, they all hit, which was just an unbelievable thing, and got 4 wounds through onto the Justarian, but they were all saved bar 1, so one of those Justarian have got 1 wound. I think that's a really great result. At initiative 1, the Justarian struck with 8 of their attacks, but only managed to hit 3 times. They did wound 3 times, and it was enough to kill 2 of the Thalax. The Mechanicum have lost combat, but they are stubborn, leadership 10, and they passed their leadership test, and that combat is ensuing. On the whole, not a bad turn. I think I've done everything I can do. Really pleased to have secured the Psyker over by the Thunderhawk there. If anything, it will get me a draw. I just need the Archmados Reductor and his 2 remaining Thalax to hold in that combat.
Sons of Horus, turn 5, and potentially last turn of the game. Now, of course, I played to play the last turn of the game, so hopefully this works out for me. The land speeder has again moved to hide from that Krios Venator. There's not really much I can do to touch it, so I'm just trying to hide from it. Of course, the veterans who got shot out from their rhino aren't able to do anything because they're pinned. And finally, the Spartan has moved round to again try and get a shot on the Krios Venator. You never know, I might be lucky. Sons of Horus, turn 5 shooting. Spartan opened up on the Krios Venator. As you can see from the smoke and no Krios Venator being there, it successfully exploded it with its quad last cannon, once more repeating its luck from the start of the battle. Well done, Spartan. Sons of Horus, turn 5 assault phase. Really need to kill the Thalax this turn. This might be the last turn of the game, and this is the only way I'm going to get hold of that objective. Praetor starts things off, swinging with his Paragon Blade. A lot of noise from him, but not much damage, only causing a single wound on the Thalax. The Thalax and the Magos then returned their attacks and caused no wounds on the Justarin. So it's just the Power Fists to go, going to try and deal with the rest of the Thalax. The Justarin at Initiative 1 swung in with their Power Fists, causing a mighty 3 wounds and pulling down and killing a Thalax. The Thalax have of course lost combat, but they're stubborn with Leadership 10. I really need them to run away, so we're going to roll this on camera. I really want them to roll more than a 10. Here we go. Oh, that's a 10. They stay in the combat. And with that, the game may be over. The Mechanicum are currently holding one Psyker and defending the other, denying it from me. So I really want to go to turn 6 when I might be able to finally deal with that unit of Thalax. So it's a 4 or more for the game to continue. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Oh, a 6! The game continues. Oh.
Mechanicum, turn 6 movement. This is definitely the final turn for the Mechanicum, so we need to make an impression this turn. What we've done is this Thalax cohort here has moved forward as far as it can, a full 6 inches, and our plan is to charge into combat with the Justarin and the Praetor to help out the Archmagos Reductor. We need to retain control of that Psyker to win this game. The 2 Cryos have moved into a position where they can draw a bead onto that Spartan, as have the Thalax cohort over there with their photon thrusters. It's very unlikely that they're going to destroy the Spartan, but we might be able to take a weapon off it, reducing its firepower, or you never know, we might get really lucky with an AP2 shot with a roll of a 6 on the damage chart. So we'll see what happens. The 3 Thalax are still in contact with this Psyker here. You know, we need to make sure that we survive its Psychic Shriek attack, and we will retain contact with it. And that will score us 3 points. There's a lot of ifs and buts, but we're going to give it a go. Ordo Reductor, turn 6 shooting. Both of the Cryos tanks fired into the Spartan. 2 direct hits, but failed to penetrate its armour. The squad of Thalax here in the more or less centre of the board fired their 2 photon thrusters into the Spartan. Again, failed to penetrate. The Psyker unleashed its Psychic Shriek attack, managed to put a wound on the Thalax, but they did save it, and they have retained control of that Psyker. All that's left to do is a gutsy 7-inch charge into the Justarin to try and hold on to that Psyker. Ordo Reductor, turn 6 assault phase. The Thalax cohort needed a 7-inch roll to charge the Justarin, but they only rolled a 4, so that is a shame. I have to now rely on the 4 up invulnerable save conferred by the Psyker, and then if that fails, we have a 3 up invulnerable save on the Archmagos Reductor to keep us in that combat. Fingers crossed. Combat between the Archmagos Prime, the Thalax, the Justarin, and the Praetor. At Initiative 5, the Praetor struck in with his 5 attacks, 5 hits, caused 2 wounds, one of which was instant death, and the Archmagos Reductor passed his 3 up invulnerable save. A wound was then put through onto the Thalax. The Archmagos Reductor and the Thalax struck back, with only 1 wound being caused on the Justarin, but their 2 up armour held, so no wounds were caused. At Initiative 1, the Justarin struck back and managed to put 4 Strength 8 AP2 wounds onto the Archmagos Reductor and the Thalax, but the Thalax made some amazing 4 up invulnerable saves conferred by the Psyker and a sneaky feel no pain. The Mechanicum did lose that combat, but again, that leadership 10 with stubborn kept them in the fight. I wonder if they can hold out one more turn. At the end of turn 6 for the Ordo Reductor, you know, we've done everything we can. We've secured a Psyker. We've held combat. We just need to brave one more round of combat, and we may have clinched ourselves a win. Who knows?
Sons of Horus, turn 6 movement, and the final turn of the game. Everywhere now, the Sons of Horus are relatively safe to move out into the open because they won't be taking any return fire from the Mechanicum. So the land speeder has hopped up onto the gantry once again, passing its dangerous terrain test. It's not really going to affect the game, but at this point it might be able to put out some shots of spite into the Thalax. The Spartan and the Sons of Horus veteran squad have moved up to try and take out that Krios Venator. It's only got 1 hull point left, and with last man standing being a big feature of the game, clearing out Mechanicum units is a priority this turn. Over by the Thunderhawk, the Thalax took a Psychic Shriek from the Psyker they're holding onto. It managed to cause a single wound onto the Thalax, which is great, and also forced a leadership check, but fortunately for them, they passed it, so they're still in the game, which means, of course, the Mechanicum will still claim that objective at the end of the game. So it looks like we might be playing for either winning on the secondaries or a draw, but we'll see what happens at the end of the game. Sons of Horus, turn 6 shooting phase. Now, the veterans haven't really done much all game, so they've run up and fired with their plasma guns at the Krios Venator, and they've more than made up for their lack of anything this game. They stripped off its last hull point and exploded it. It exploded 3 inches and clipped one of the Justarin, who fortunately passed the armour save. This now frees up the Spartan to shoot at something else, which is quite exciting. Spartan then takes its turn to shoot and fires at the Cries battle tank sitting at the back of the board. Bit of a cheeky shot through the smoke, through the intervening units, giving a 5-up cover save. Really good work from the quad last cannons, causing a glancing and penetrating hit. Both of them went through despite the cover, but unfortunately there was not an explode result, leaving it on 1 hull point at the end of the game. Spartan was the last shot of the game, or was it? The speeder saw a real opportunity to shine and opened up with its Volkite on the side of that Krios battle tank. This would have been amazing if it got a 6 and stripped off its last hull point. It did get a single hit out of 4 shots, however, it was a bridge too far and no penetrating hit was caused, so the Krios battle tank is safe. Sons of Horus, turn 6 assault phase, and the final action of the game. The Praetor, god of war, chosen son of Horus, swings in with his Paragon blade and does nothing. Next, the Magos and the Thalax attack back, crucially causing a wound that the Justarin fails and dies. So I've only got 6 attacks from the Justarin. It's not looking good to finish off this unit. 6 attacks from the Justarin at Initiative 1. They swung in and killed the last Thalax and stripped a wound off the Magos. Again, the Mechanicum have lost combat. However, they're stubborn, leadership 10. As this roll is important, we're going to do it on camera again. So, pretty much to decide the fate of the game, Mechanicum, leadership 10 stubborn. Let's see what happens. Oh, that's a 9. I saw the 6. Thought it might be something, but it wasn't. The Mechanicum stay in the game and keep control of that objective.
That's it. Game 4, Harvest on the Black Sands is done. And I think that produced a really up and down game, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the first couple of turns I was just like, so I was deathly afraid of your tanks.
Yes.
And seemingly not doing anything to them. So yeah, I felt definitely really threatened, and then really came back with that Justarin charge, but
yeah,
just couldn't shift those Thalax.
Yeah, it's worth noting though, the only reason why those Thalax did so well is because of that 4+ invulnerable save conferred by that Psyker model. There was a little extra rule which we put in just to kind of just show the pure raw energies coming out of each Psyker.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
But it certainly saved the bacon of the Mechanicum and making that early play to get hold of that objective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I kind of that was my idea, and you did it first and did it quicker, which was fantastic. In
hindsight, I really struggled to get back into the deployment zone to keep the Psyker safe because I obviously thrusted over to it, got him, and I couldn't thrust. I could thrust, but I had to stay in coherency. But obviously, the Psyker itself could not thrust, so I really struggled to get it back. And then obviously, I tried a really sneaky blocking move to stop Alistair getting to me, but it just didn't happen.
Snuck past it.
Yeah. In hindsight, if I'd brought a transport, that Trios would have made it unloaded or loaded in the second turn rather, and then it would have flatted out straight back in the second turn. So yeah, I need to get those transports painted.
Absolutely, yeah. They were it would have made a big difference, but yeah, even so, with all the thrust moves, with all the kind of movement, realistically, I didn't put that much of a dent in your Mechanicum forces.
Yeah, that's true, and that helped me win the game in the end. Moving on to the scores, because we got the last man standing. But looking at the scores, the Thalax managed to retain one of the Psychers over by the Thunderhawk, scored 3 points, and then the last man standing secured another. So it was 4 to the ORDO REDUCTOR and 0 for a change. To the Sons of Horus.
I don't know how this feels. I can't deal with this.
The tide is turning, hopefully. I really genuinely enjoyed that. I thought the board was fantastic. There was a lot of stuff
absolutely
on the board to deal with.
Yeah. Because I think whilst your tanks were quite powerful, I did have a lot of places to hide from them.
Yeah.
Which I guess whilst pinning me in place did protect my stuff, which is of course really important at the end of the game when I think just about everything I had left on the board did something, in the last few turns, which was great. Yeah,
those vets coming in, taking the final whole point off that cross Venator.
That's so good, man.
It was really good. I can't believe Alistair still had some really amazing saves. Don't forget, he passed, I think it was all or most of your jinx saves for this land speed.
Yeah, and then the first 4 invulnerable saves on the Contemptor as well, where they were all passed as well. I find that the trick with 4-ups is just to visualise that you're making Justarian saves.
Okay.
And at the start of the day, David was laughing at me about that. But by the end of it, I think you were trying to channel it yourself.
I tried.
Yeah.
Clearly failed. But
it's all in the wrist.
It is. It was really nice to get some tanks into that Mechanicum force. It's quite a quick force, and when the photon thrusters work, it can be quite potent. But we all know my Gets Hot rolls were absolutely appalling in the last 3 games. Average this turn, but the tanks really helped make a difference.
Absolutely, yeah. They gave me the willies.
Brilliant. But losing the weapon destroyed result.
Yeah, I think that really kept me in the game. If you'd have had 2 of those, they would have. You can split your fire at different targets and maximise and stuff. So yeah, I think that taking the weapon off that really kept me in the game, which was great.
They're really good weapons because if you play on a Dawn of War deployment, I usually have 2 units of 2, and I put them at opposite ends of the board, and then when a Spartan comes up the middle, because that's generally where Spartans go, they have to turn to face at one point, and then you can get the side armour shots and bypass that flare shield. But I will say one thing though: when I shot at the side armour of the Spartan, I got 2 hits with a strength 9 ordnance weapon and rolled double 1 twice.
I know that's. It was like a kind of mathematical singularity.
Unreal. You just can't plan for that.
The temperature suddenly dropped. Planes fell out of the sky. It was so funny.
But you've brought back the Spartan.
Of course.
Your newest addition to your army as well.
With its good luck goat skull on the front. Did a lot of work. Yeah, I kind of, as you say, it's nice to bring big tanks on for a kind of heresy game, which is great.
Yeah.
But also just the amount of work it did. It killed 2 tanks by itself. As you say, comfortably. Took the weapon off one of them as well, and nearly killed a 3rd in that last turn. Just left it on 1 whole point, which was unfortunate. But fantastic work, and put the Justarian in a position where they nearly swung the game either to a win or a draw. So yeah, it was a good game.
I think the Spartan is probably one of the best vehicles in 30k. It's resilient, it does pack a bit of a punch, and it delivers that really important unit into the heart of battle.
Absolutely, yeah.
And once it's delivered, it can then drive off and shoot other stuff. And I think it's a real big brick, and it's good line of sight blocker.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. I think thinking about it now, perhaps having that Rhino run up alongside the Spartan was a mistake. I could have quite comfortably hid it behind. So this is a learning point for me as well, is that this can be used to shield tanks just as much as it can be used to kind of kill other stuff.
Absolutely. They're such an amazing model as well. I think it's one of the iconic models in the range, actually.
Absolutely, yeah. But let me tell you, when I was painting it, because I was, again, painting it by hand, like I was getting hand cramps from holding it.
It's so heavy.
Yeah. Just like a claw.
A gnarled.
Yeah.
I think that was a really, really great game. It was actually an absolute blast to play, and Alistair is a fantastic opponent. So thank you for that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was saying afterwards, off camera, that this is one of the best games of Heresy I've ever played. So yeah, really, really enjoyed it.
It was good fun. Now, don't forget, we are game 4 into 6 games of this campaign. Alistair, tell us about what we plan for game 5.
Game 5, yep. Got a lot to do. Both the veteran squads will be converted into normal tactical marines.
Okay.
I lose a bit of threat from those units, but dropping those points just allows me to include more stuff.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll be seeing a Venator and a Primaris Lightning Fighter.
Oh, God!
So my 2 favourite units in the game are the Sakaran Venator and the Lightning. So
Wow.
I'm really looking forward to bringing them on because they comfortably deal with tanks. So I think that's one of the things that I felt today is that I just couldn't put a dent in them. So hopefully now I will be able to. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to bringing those out.
Those Venators are deadly, 2 shot, strength 10, AP 1 or 2?
AP 1.
Ordnance.
Yeah, it's the 36-inch range and also being fast. So effectively it's that 48-inch threat range, and they can be in loads of different places. So yeah, they are lovely, lovely vehicles. And the Lightning as well, it will be tooled up with its crack and penetrating missiles. So again, I play one in my White Scars and it comfortably comes on and will 9 out of 10 times delete whatever tank it goes at.
Yeah, that's interesting. I might have to purchase some Thalax with the Icarian upgrade, and that gives them Skyfire. Although, because Interceptor's kind of changed now with the Orbit Scanner, only 18 inches. So we'll have to see what happens with that. So my 500 points, I've got 3 choices. I can either get my ass into gear and paint some more tanks. I've got 2 Kraknos and 2 Trios to paint. That'll help keep the Thalax alive, particularly against the Cary's Patent Assault Cannons and some of the other weapons that Alice has got, particularly those land speeders. They are deadly to the Mechanicum. Or I can include another 2 Venators and some more Thalax. Or I can include a ton more Thalax. So I've got another half again on the Thalax. So
yeah. I mean, this is all stuff that I'll struggle to deal with. So yeah, there's plenty of good options for you.
So we'll have to see, but hopefully I'll get some time in and get at least one of the Kraknos and one of the Trials painted. So we'll see what happens there. I need to make a decision about what's happening. Now, don't forget, if you have watched this game ahead of the other 3, please go back and watch the other 3 games. It really does start to tell the story and gives you a great idea about where we are today.
3 fantastic games as well.
They really, really are. The first 2 are quite short, but the third game's reasonably long, and then you get into the 4th one. So we talk about Heresy and how to get into it. And the
absolutely, yeah. Really take you through.
Yeah. I've also taken a ton of photos for this game. So all the photos that are taken on the day all go up on the Facebook page. So if you are catching up with the back catalogue because you've subscribed to the website, all of the photos will be there from every single game you have watched. So please go there and check out those photos. I am unashamedly open about this. I would love you to watch this game on YouTube free of charge. And then I really would like you to go to the website, www.the30kchannel.com, and subscribe. It's £4.50 a month, and for that you get 7 games of Heresy a month. And there's over 100 games on there for you to watch and enjoy. So I'd really appreciate if you do that. That would be fantastic. Alistair, you are on Instagram, aren't you?
I am.
Where can we find you?
It's just my name. So it's Alistair M, I think, or my full name. I can't remember.
It's Alistair. It's your full name.
Okay, it's my full name, Alistair McMillan.
There you go.
Because I'm not imaginative, apparently.
It works. And if you'd like to follow the channel on Instagram as well, it's just at the 30k channel. And I usually post photos from the day, stuff I'm painting or building for boards or terrain or whatever. So please go there and check that out. I'd really appreciate it. If you have any comments about the game, please leave a comment below, or you can email me directly. It's just david@the30kchannel.com. If you have an idea for a scenario or a series of games like Alistair and I have, contact me. And we will try and put you in front of the camera with a series of games, linked games with you and one of your friends, or if you've got a group of friends. There is a fantastic series of games called Battle for Sector 139, which was Imperial Fist, Night Lords, Death Guard, and Space Wolves, from the 4 lads from Newcastle, and it is a spectacular 5 games on the website. So please go there and watch that. It's really, really cool. It's all Zone Mortalis as well, so it's pretty cool. I've had a real blast filming this game. So, Alistair, again, thank you.
No worries.
We will be back very soon with Game 5, 2,500 points. We'll see you very soon.
Mm-hmm.